Hello children, welcome to today's video session of Standard 10 Economics Unit 5 Industrial Cluster in Tamilnadu. In today's session, we are going to see what is industrial cluster, historical development of industrial cluster, Tamilnadu government policies and the impact of government policies and the role of entrepreneurs. Shall we move on to the session? Unit 5 Industrial Clusters in Tamilnadu. Generally, any human activity which is engaged in the conversion of raw material into readily usable material is called an industry. In this chapter, we will learn the nature of industrialization of Tamil Nadu, importance of industrial clusters, how industrial clusters have developed in Tamil Nadu, and the role of government initiatives in promoting industries. Importance of industrialization. To understand importance of industrialization, we need to understand why the share of agriculture in an economy, income and employment decreases with development. First, demand for the food remains constant with regards to. Second, even the food that is consumed is subject to more transformation. Third, there are limits to the ability of agriculture to absorb labor due to the declining marginal productivity of land. Due to all these factors, there is a need for an economic production and employment base to diversify away from agriculture. What benefit does industrialization bring to an economy? It is essential to produce inputs to other producers in an economy. Even agriculture requires input from industries such as fertilizer and tractors to increase productivity. A market exists for both producer and consumer goods. By using modern methods of production, industry contributes to better productivity and hence lower cost of production of all goods produced. Through such expansion of production, industrialization helps to absorb the labor force coming out of agriculture. A related advantage of industrialization is therefore technological change. Expanding income leads to more demand for goods. Types of industries. Industries can be classified on the basis of user, type of input used, ownership, size, users. If the output is consumed by final consumer, it is called consumer goods sector. If the output is consumed by another producer, it is called capital sector. Type of inputs used. Industries are also classified based on the kinds of raw material used, such as agro-processing, textile sector, rubber products, leather goods, etc. Ownership. Firms may be privately owned, publicly owned, jointly owned by the private and public sector, joint sector or cooperatively owned. Size. Firms may be large, small or medium based on the volume of output, sales or employment or on the basis of amount of investment made. The small sector to generate more employment than the large scale sector, which is likely to use more advanced and automated technology. The small sectors allow for a larger amount of entrepreneurs to emerge from less privileged backgrounds. Industrial cluster. Industrial clusters are groups of firms in a different geographic area that share common markets, technologies and skill requirements. The advantage of industrial cluster are distinct was first observed by the famous economist Alfred Marshall in the 1950s. Small firms in the metal working and textile business in England. Policy makers in developing countries like India began to promote them actively as they realized that there are several such small firms clusters in the country. The following are the chief characteristics of a successful cluster. Geographical proximity of small and medium enterprises, sectoral specialization, close inter-firm collaboration, inter-firm competition based on innovation, a social cultural identity which facilitates trust, multi-skilled workforce, active self-help organization, and supportive regional and municipal governments. How do clusters originate? Cluster may arise due to many factors. Certain clusters evolve over a long time when artisans settled in one locality and evolved over centuries. Handloom weaving clusters are one example of this development. A large farm is established, a cluster of firms emerge to take care of its input and service requirements. Government may also decide to encourage manufacturing using raw materials from a region, which may also lead to emerge of clusters. Historical development of industrialization in Tamilnadu. There is a lot of evidence for presence of industrial activities such as textile, shipbuilding, iron and steel making, and pottery in the pre-colonial Tamilnadu. Colonial policy also contributed to the decline of the handloom weaving industry due to competition from mission-made imports from England. But some industry also developed during the colonial period. Industrialization in the colonial period. There are two sets of factors that have contributed into the progress. The introduction of cotton cultivation in western and southern Tamil Nadu by the colonial government led to emerge of a large-scale textile sector in these parts. Increase in trade during this period led to industrialization development around two of most active ports in the region, that is Chennai and Tuticorin. Match factories to emerge during the colonial period in the Sivagasi region. Port-related activities to contribute to the growth of the region. Leather production was also taking place in Dindigul, Vellore and Amur area. In western Tamil Nadu, the emerge of textile industry also led to development and starting of textile machinery industry in the region. Another major development in the western region is the introduction of electricity from hydroelectric power in 1930. This led to the both expansion of agriculture as well as increase in demand for oil industries. In turn, it led to emerge of workshop for servicing engine also for addressing the demand for spare parts. Post-independence 1990s. Soon after independence, both central and state government in different segments such as the integral coach factory in Chennai to make railway coaches and the Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited in Tiruchirappalli manufacturing to boilers and turbines. Heavy vehicles factory was set up to manufacture tanks in Avadi on the outskirts of Chennai. Ashok Motors and Standard Motors together helped for an automobile sector in Chennai. The Avadi Industrial Estate was established in the year 1950 to support the small and medium companies supplying to the large firms in the region. The Salem Steel Plant was set up in 1973 to produce stainless steel. The 1970s and 1980s saw the setting up of emergence of powerloom weaving cluster in Coimbatore region as well as expansion of cotton knitwear cluster in Tirupur and home furnishing cluster in Karur. The Hosur Industrial Cluster is a successful case of how such policy efforts to promote industrial estate help to develop industries in a backward region. Industrialization in Tamil Nadu, liberalization phase. The reforms made the state government more responsible for resource mobilization and they were forced to compete with each other to attract private investment and industrialization. Incentives such as cheap land, tax concession and subsidies but quality power were all offered to wow in the investors. involved investors to excellent investors. The important industries in the state that evolved over a much longer period include sugar, fertilizers, cement, agriculture implements, iron and steel, chemicals, transformers, and paper. Tamil Nadu at present has the largest number of factories among all states in India, also has the largest share of workforce employed in manufacturing. Importantly, it is more labor intensive compared to other industrial advanced states like Maharashtra and Gujarat. The major industries are automobiles, auto components, light and heavy engineering, machinery, cotton, textiles, rubber, food products, transport equipment, chemicals and leather goods. Unlike other states, the industries are spread across all regions of the state, with many of them being export-oriented as well. The state has a well-developed network of roads, rails, air and major ports. Major industrial clusters and their specialization in Tamil Nadu. Automotive clusters. Chennai is nicknamed as the Detroit of Asia because of its large auto industry base. Chennai is home to large number of auto assembly and components making firms. Few domestic firms like TVS, TI Cycles, Ashok Leyland and Standard Motors in the post-reform period. Several MNC firms like Hyundai, Ford, Benz, Nissan have opened factories in the region. Hosur is another auto cluster with firms like TVS and Ashok Leyland having their factories there. Coimbatore region is also developing into auto component cluster. Truck and bus body building industry cluster. The Namakkal Kirchengood belt in western Tamil Nadu is known for its truck body building industry. Karur is another major hub with more than 50 units. Many entrepreneurs were previous employees in a big firm involved in bodybuilding who came out to set up their own units. Textile cluster. Tamil Nadu is a home to the largest textile sector in the country. Because of the development of cotton textile industry since the colonial period, Coimbatore often referred as Manchester of South India. At present, most of the spinning mills have moved around the Coimbatore city. Tamil Nadu is the biggest producer of cotton yarn in the country. However, most widespread is Erode and Salem regions having a large number of power units. Tirupur is famous for clustering of a large number of firms producing cotton materials. It accounts for nearly 80% of the country's cotton export and generates employment in the range of over 3 lakh people since the late 90s. It is also a major producer of the domestic market. Because of this success in the global market, it is seen as one of the most dynamic clusters in the global south. While initially most of the firms were run by local entrepreneurs, at present some of the leading garment exporters in India have set up factories here. Apart from bodybuilding, Karur is a major center of export of home furnishing like table cloth, curtains, bed covers and towels. Bhavani and Kumarapalayam are again major center of production of carpets, both for the domestic and the global market. Apart from such modern clusters, there are also traditional artisanal clusters such as Madurai and Kanchipuram that are famous for silk and cotton handling sarees. Leather and leather goods cluster. Hundreds of leather and tannery facilities are located around Vellore and its nearby towns, such as Ranipet, Ambur and Vaniyar. The Vellore district is the top exporter of finished leather goods in the country. Chennai also has a large number of leather products involved in export. There is another clustering of leather processing in Hindukal and Europe. The leather product sector is a major employment sector. Fireworks, matches and printing cluster. Sivagasi region, once famous for its match industry, and now become a major center for printing and fireworks in the country. It is believed to contribute to 90% of India's firework production and 80% of safety matches and 60% of offset printing solutions. All these industries are the region in the colonial period and at present offer employment to a large number of workers. Electronics and Information Technology, that is IT clusters. The early 1990s, the state has been the entry of hardware and electronic manufacturers like Nokia, Foxconn, Motorola, Sony, Ericsson, Samsung and Dell marketing cellular handset devices, circuit boards and consumer electronics. They have all been set up in the Chennai region. The policy factors that help the industrialization process in Tamilnadu. Education. Industries require skilled human resources. Apart from a lot of attention to primary education to promote literacy and basic arithmetic, the state is known for its vast supply of technical training. It is home to one of the largest number of engineering colleges, polytechnics, and industrial training centers in the country. Infrastructure. Along with electrification, Tamilnadu is known for its excellent transport infrastructure, especially minor roads that connect rural parts of the state to nearby towns and cities. A combination of public and private transport has also facilitated rural to urban connectivity and therefore connects small producers to market centers. Special economic zone. As it says, a policy was introduced in April 2000 for the settling up of the special economic zone in the country with a view to a hazard-free problem-free environment for exports. Nangunari says a multi-product cess in thermal waste. Ennur says thermal power project by Coimbatore says IT park. Hosur says auto engineering, electronics, defense and aerospace. Perambalur says multi-product cess. Auto City says automobile, auto components, Tiruvallur. India, Singapore says IT and IT, electronic hardware, logistics and warehousing, Tiruvallur. Biopharmaceutical says clinical research organization, poison control center, center for regeneration medicine research. Madras Export Processing Zone. Next is a sector electronic zone in Chennai. It is one of the 7 export processing zones in the country set up by the central government. It was established in 1984 to promote foreign direct investment, enhance foreign exchange earnings, and create greater employment opportunity in the region. The next headquarters is located on GST Road in Tambaram, Chennai. Industrial promotion. Apart from investment in education and transport and energy infrastructure, active policy efforts were made to promote specific sectors and also industrialization in specific regions. The state has put in place several industrial promotion agencies for both large enterprises and the small and medium segment, as well as to provide supporting infrastructure. The following are some agencies that have played a key role in industrialization in the state. SIPCAT, Small Industries Promotion Corporation of Tamilnadu, was formed in the year 1971 to promote industrial growth in the state by getting up industrial sectors. TANSIPCO, Tamil Nadu Small Industry Development Corporation. It is a state agency of the state of Tamil Nadu established in the year 1970 to promote small-scale industries and give subsidies and provide technical assistance for new firms in the small-scale sector. TIDCO, Tamilnadu Industrial Development Corporation, is another government agency to promote industries in the state and to establish industrial estates. CIIC, Tamilnadu Industrial Investment Corporation Limited. In 1940, industry could provide low-cost financial support for both setting up new units and also for expansion of existing units. TANSI, Tamil Nadu Small Industries Corporation Limited, 1965, is supposed to be the first industrial corporation operation in the domain for small enterprises. Issues with industrialization. To begin with, some clusters, especially chemical, textile and leather clusters, tend to generate a lot of polluting effluent that affects them. The effluents also pollute water bodies, which effluents are led into and also adjoining agricultural land. Employment generation potential has decreased because of the need to compete globally. Quality of employment also has and suffered in recent years as the most workers are employed in family sector. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the process of the action of an entrepreneur who undertakes to establish his enterprise. Role of an entrepreneur. They provide development of industries and help to remove regional disparities. They help the country to increase the GDP and per capita income. They promote capital formation. Entrepreneurs provide large-scale employment to artisans, technically qualified persons and professionals. They enable the people to avail better quality goods at lower prices, which result in the improvement of their standard of living. Let's move on to recap and conclude.